quarterback. That's the hell. And I saw you in the weight room and watched the workout in the weight room. And you could pick up, you saw him pick up the whole weight room. I really appreciate it, and I really got those things back. biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning, Tide Nation. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial. The Martin Houston Show fan page on Facebook. It is a beautiful Tuesday morning, and we're live and local and glad to be with you. Let's get the program going, but before we do, like we do each and every day, remember that this is the day that the Lord has made. So let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Good morning, Joe. How you doing?
I'm doing great today, Martin. Have a wonderful Tuesday. Happy to be here with you. How about yourself, man? It looks beautiful outside.
Yeah, well, I hadn't been outside yet, but I'm going to take your word for it. It feels good. And it's another day. I mean, whether it's rain or shine, or sleet or snow or whatever, I guess it's still a good day for somebody somewhere, somehow, some way. The kids who want to get out of school, well, you know what? I guess all of the kids in the city schools are out today except for juniors with the testing. And of course, you're like, what is he talking about? The only kids in school at the high school level today are juniors taking the ACT, if I'm not mistaken. So, but anyway, let's
sophomore, freshman, and senior then. It's a good day to be a freshman, sophomore, and senior then.
That's right. That's what. So every day is a good day for someone, and I choose to try to make every day a good day because it's another opportunity to do this, another opportunity to impact the lives of other people. So got a great show lined up for you today. We're going to be bringing in DC Capstone Report in the second quarter. We'll talk to him a little bit about our conversation and carryover from yesterday. So I'm not going to get back into that because I do want to get DC's thoughts when it comes to Nick Saban versus Nate Oates. And that conversation followed me throughout the day yesterday, Joe. A lot of people listening, I guess, yesterday morning. We talked a lot in several different circles about whether or not that the season that Nate Oates has had at 16-2 regular season is the equivalent of a 12-0 football season. And my answer is easy. It's better than. I mean, worst case, I was shocked at how many people thought it was less than what Nick Saban did. You know, Joe, you have to go back to prior to Coach Bryant, to find somebody that didn't win 10 or more games as a football coach at Alabama. And we haven't been even relevant in basketball for the most part in a long time. And of all of those SEC championships, we've only had a few regular season championships. And I think that regular season championship is a taller task and a harder task than a conference title via the SEC tournament. Not knocking any of that because you win it either way, you're still a champion. But 16-2 during COVID, in your second year when you lost one of your best players to the NBA draft, and then you brought all these freshmen and transfers in, and you got them all to buy in. Pretty impressive. So we'll talk to DC Capstone Report about that. A lot, haven't been out for virtually 2 months. Some of my conversation may be a rehash, but it's always good to have different perspectives on different topics or the same topics you may have discussed before. But I was looking at Nick Saban and his staff, and as we're coming up on spring Joe, it kind of makes you go, wow, what's going to happen with this new staff and spring practice being just over a week away, and he have all these NFL guys and these older guys that he's bringing in to help versus some of these younger guys. What do you think behind Nick Saban? And it may not be anything. He may just think these are great fit, but it seems like he went a little older and more mature with this coaching staff. Do you read anything into that, Joe?
I think that Coach Saban likes to have the NFL experience with what he's had in the past. I think that bringing Bill O'Brien and Doug Marrone, they are older guys and have been out of the college game for a little bit of time, but they can really it really sells the Alabama. It really sells the idea, and it's not really the idea. Actual fact, get you to the NFL and get you ready for the NFL better and faster than any other college football program. So I think oftentimes to keep that a fact and to keep that perception a reality, you kind of may have to go with older, more experienced coaches.
Do you think that possible that Sarkisian, you know how Nick Saban made the transition to defensive style coaches based on what teams did against him, right? The success they were having with the mobile quarterback. So he changed. He had a certain type of linebacker he recruited, but then after teams started success, he went away from the McLean. Guys can run defensively. He got Lane Kiffin and made the transition to not just defensive team, but more of an offensive team. Is it possible that with the experience and what he found in Sarkisian having a little bit of college experience or a lot of college experience, then the NFL mix, is it possible that he found a mix of a new coach that he thinks may work better at the college game? Is the Bill O'Brien, who's spent some at both the college level and also Marrone also had Doug Marrone had 5 years at Georgia Tech staff, and him and O'Brien were there together. Did he find something, Joe? Nick Saban is always looking to improve his process, and you just kind of wonder, did that Sarkisian, I call it experiment, but it wasn't an experiment, but did he find something that, like, wow, if you can get a guy who has some college experience, understands recruiting, but then he gets that NFL, run it like a business, take the right approach, treat the players like, adults and mature them. Did he find a good mix? And is that part of why he went with these two guys? Because both of those guys have both college and NFL experience.
Well, it's always great to be able to go into a recruit's living room and say, look at all this experience that's on my staff, and these guys have been there, done that. They can help you get there. I think it's one of the biggest things for bringing in Bill O'Brien is his experience working with a mobile quarterback and Deshaun Watson. I think that you look at kind of Bryce Young's skill sets and some of the skill sets of what we've had at quarterback, I guess outside of Mac Jones with Tua and Jalen, and you're kind of looking at a little bit with that with Bryce Young and Jalen Milroe. I think that it just speaks to Nick Saban's kind of mindset of preparing, molding the coaches to his personnel rather than his person. Coaches, staff who have.
Yeah, I lost you a little bit.
Just say that when it goes, when they go into the high school living rooms, it really is a huge recruiting tool because parents can know that the coaches that Nick Saban has around their kids have adequate experience, knowing what the college game is like, but knowing what the ultimate goal is, and that's getting to the NFL and getting them paid and making them, setting them on the right path for their future.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. He has the ability to coach. You saw what he's done with Deshaun Watson, but he also has the ability to teach them the pocket principles because of what he did at with Tom Brady for a little bit up at New England with the Patriots, as well as the guy he had up at Pittsburgh. I mean, at Penn State was kind of a hybrid type of guy as well. So I think, as you said, he has a guy who can coach the talent that he has in the room to their skill set, but also he can also have the ability to teach them the direction that the game is going, while also having some of those foundation principles. And I think that's what Sark did, because we saw what Sark did with Tua in one year, and then the next year he came right back, Joe. It improved upon, what we saw with Tua. Who would have ever thought that after Tua Tagovailoa, you would have a quarterback that makes you quickly forget how good and how special a talent Tua Tagovailoa was. I know there's been a lot of conversation around that conversation with a couple of the guys, Smith and Waddle, saying they would prefer Mac over Tua. Don't read too much into that to mean that Tua's bad. Just mean that you have to look at the way college football works and understand how it works in terms of who spends time with who, Joe. And you have to understand Mac Jones was the quarterback that probably spent more time with Jalen Waddle and even Devontae Smith, because Devontae Smith was the third receiver, up until this year. We sometimes forget that, even though he was a clear number one and a Heisman Trophy winner before this season, he was the third guy. So when Mac Jones was in, a lot of times I'm sure that, Devontae Smith was getting reps to him as well. And so you'll see some of that even happen with Bryce Young. With some of the younger guys, they'll have a better rhythm than necessarily some of the guys that may have even played. Mechie may be a little behind with Bryce Young compared to some of the younger guys coming into this season because of just the way it plays out in practice and things like that. We have a lot of conversations we can get to. As I said, I'm going to talk to DC about basketball. We can talk to him about this coaching staff because he also, not only did Nick Saban go with the former NFL head coaches for his offensive new coaches, but also in the analyst graduate assistant role. He went with older guys as well. Is Nick Saban trying to find some guys that he didn't have to spend as much time teaching as much as he does releasing them and letting them go. We'll also talk about we can bring up the conversation if somebody wants to talk about the Tua versus Mac Jones conversation. One of the great benefits of the COVID-19 2020 season, we didn't have a big controversy over quarterback last year. Did you enjoy last season? Because we got to watch Alabama football without being divided for the first time in a long time. It seems like, even though the players split ways with Jalen and Tua, not even into that last season, but you still had that comparison. How much fun was last year for you as a Bama fan? Will we get more of that this year? Will Bryce Young clearly take the job with spring practice being just over a week away from kicking off? We'll talk about that. We have DC Capstone Report coming up next right here on the Martin Houston Show. You can get in on the conversation at 205-408-78 409 7877 205-409-7877.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, clear start to your Tuesday morning. Both clear skies and clear lanes. No accidents reported so far on Tuscaloosa highways and byways. Slow down and take your time as you head to the office. Sale at Townsend Nissan.
Get that feeling. It was something that made you realize this house would become your home. And since there's no place like it, it deserves protection just as special. So talk to a real person, not a website. Call your Allstate agent, Andrew Knipper, today at 205-722-9201 or find us on Facebook, Andrew Knipper Agency. Once again, you can reach us at 205-722-9201. Allstate, are you in good hands?
This is a national healthcare alert from the 24/7 Diabetic Health Hotline. If you, a family member, or a loved one has diabetes, listen closely. Now, regardless of your age, if you have insurance, you may qualify to receive diabetic testing supplies with little to no out-of-pocket cost. Get free delivery, free information, and all the paperwork is handled by our accredited suppliers for free. Call the 24/7 Diabetic Health Hotline now for details. Toll free at this number. But wait, there's more. If you call right now, you could get a meter upgrade. In addition, we'll give you a free pair of diabetic socks as our special gift to you. Regardless of your age, if you suffer with diabetes and have insurance, you may qualify to get free delivery of your supplies.
800-441-0419, 800-441-0419, 800-441-0419. That's 800-441-0419.
Shoe Station Spring Sale is happening now, and you can save big on comfortable, stylish footwear from Skechers. Shop the latest Skechers collections, including Skechers Arch Fit and Skechers Max Cushioning. Text Station to 87573 for a 25% off coupon. Plus, go to youneednewshoes.com to enter to win free shoes for life or $10,000 cash. Shoe Station Spring Sale now through March 31st. Again, text Station to 87573 to save 25% on Skechers styles at Shoe Station.
Fear, guilt, indecision. These raw feelings are common when users witness an opioid overdose. As a bystander, fear and indecision may race through your mind, but it's vital that you call for help. Alabama's Good Samaritan Law protects those who act in good faith in situations like an opioid overdose. Find out more about Alabama's Good Samaritan Law at VitalAlabama.com.
Another beautiful day today with a sunny sky, the high 76. Clear tonight, the low at 45. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a high at 79. Thursday and Friday, partially sunny both days.
Promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at southmarkdesign.com.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904. Tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Martin on 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial. The Martin Houston Show fan page on Facebook. Go out and give us a like, give us a follow at Martin Houston 35. We have a new phone line that we're having to use temporarily, 205-409-7877, 205-409-7877. Would love to hear from you. You can also chat with us live on Facebook, Martin Houston Live on Facebook. You're able to chat with us there. We'd love to hear from you. All right, let's get into the conversation with DC Capstone Report. Good morning, DC. How you doing, sir?
Oh, doing great, partner. How you doing this morning?
Doing well. Glad to be back with you, sir. Thanks for hanging out and helping keep things going as much as possible during the time off. But appreciate you, and I know you've had some challenges technically as well, getting things going and all of that. But glad to have you back.
Martin, and this morning I'm sitting with half of power and one wall of my home. Don't know why it's out, but one of those deals where you're renovating an older home. But just glad to be back with you, and glad to have you back on the air. But just want to tell you, Joe did a great job while you were away, and but it's really good to see that you got people surrounding you that carry on in your absence. So,
well, you know that's why I didn't win the race, DC. I was afraid if I stayed out there and had to go through a runoff, Joe might just take over, and I would never be able to come back. So.
I want to tell you also, I'm sure all your listeners are proud of you. You ran a very honest race with a lot of integrity, and I just want to tell you, I'm sure all your listeners are proud of you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. All right. Hey, let's DC, let's go ahead and get Pat on. Pat is waiting to talk with us. Pat, you're in with the Martin Houston Show and DC Capstone Report. How you doing, sir?
Good morning, Martin. Tuscaloosa needed you badly, but anyway, maybe I wish you hadn't put dates on stuff because we could have stamped them and run another race at another time. Let's talk about, huh?
I didn't say anything.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about, did you ever, I'm glad you let me hold to DC come on because I have a question for both of you. Did y'all ever dream in your wildest dreams that Alabama could be number 5 in the nation in basketball?
Well, I'll tell you, to me, I love basketball, and Martin knows this. I'm a basketball guy. I've been one for a long time now, and I've followed the basketball team for a long time. And what we've done this year, I mean, to me, is just incredible. I think Nate Oates and his staff and these players buying into his scheme. You know, I never thought, I'll be honest with you, Pat, never thought last year when I was previewing the team that we'd be number 5 in the nation. I thought we had a good team, and if everybody bought in, we could win some games. But yeah, this is an incredible run this year by Nate Oates and his staff, this team.
Yeah, Pat, I would say that. Did I think that we could get to this level with Nate Oates and eventually, you know, that's what you hope for when you hire someone like a Nate Oates who had shown, you know, the ability to make Buffalo a very competitive team. And the question you had to ask yourself is, his style can get you there, okay? Pat, the question is, would he be able to get the talent to come here to get there? And he answered that question pretty quick. And so when you take the fact of his style and the style that he plays works at any level, at any division, in any conference, and then you take talent and get them to buy into his style, then you could hope. But there's anyone that says that they thought that we would be in this position after year 2, I would have to question their honesty. But I do think that this is what we were hoping to finally get in hiring Nate Oates.
Yeah, okay. Well, being that this is primarily a football show, I got a question.
Hey, Pat, don't be hey, man, we're a sports show. Tell him, Joe.
Hey, just because we got a good swimming team, that means we can't talk about some football. I want to know about the front 7. Our linebackers and linemen, I think, are going to be the strength of this program. That you're going to see Nick pick the defense back up and make them great again, as if we hadn't already been in the past. But we're going to be, this defense has potential to be special, even with my 2 linebackers, McMillan and Moses, gone. Man, I think this front 7 has potential to be very, very special and be able to help us out to give for in case our offense has growing pains, which I don't think they are. But in case they do, I think Nick can be just like Nate Oates. Play defense on a bad day. We can play defense and beat most everybody. What do y'all think?
DC, I'll let you go first.
I definitely think our defense has a chance to really have some experience coming back and could be the solid part of our team. one of the things I'm doing now is going through and previewing for the spring. And as Martin knows, I like to identify a player, and the player I identified this year is going to be on defensive line. For the last several years, Martin will back me up on this. I've identified a defensive player who's gone on to conceivably be one of the top picks in the NFL. First, it was Quinnion Williams, but no one knew who he was. I think Martin remembers that conversation we had. And then Christian Barmore was my guy for a long time. Right now, I'm going with you, Pat, on that defensive front line. That's going to be Tim Smith. I think Tim Smith is going to be a guy that's going to be a game changer on that defensive line this year. Going to be a cog in the run stopping and the pass rush up the middle. Is going to give us an opportunity to put some more pressure on the quarterback. So with our linebackers, our ends, and our other linemen, I think we have a really good defensive team this year.
Yeah, and I would agree with that with you as well. And of course, Tim Smith started showing flashes down the stretch, but this is something that we didn't necessarily, we saw a little bit of it. DC and Pat, we saw a little bit of Drew Sanders down the stretch, but we didn't see a lot of the inside linebackers necessarily, the guys who we thought may come in, but they have a year under their belt now. A couple of those young linebackers, and this is what I look at to kind of tell you where your defense is going to be good. The transfer portal can give you insight into what players in the locker room think, okay? And the fact that we had Cahill and Davis both decide to not come back, and the fact that Allen came back tells me that we the more Kennedy and Drew Sanders and Jackson Bratton and those guys, I think that tells you that those guys are ready to step in and play and help replace, because you're losing two inside linebackers with 20 years of experience between them, and yet guys left. And I think that speaks to the guys that are stepping in to fill those roles.
I agree 100%. Very good observation.
Yep. And hey, I want to say welcome back, Martin. And hey, y'all all have a blessed day. Thank you, DC. And hey, we'll try to come up with another good question next week. Thank you, DC. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Pat. All right. Curtis Moore II saying, I concur with Pat. The linebacker crew this year will be nasty, especially if we land Henry Tuatola out of Tennessee. Is that still on the board? Have you heard anything on that, DC?
I haven't heard any movement on that. I think it's still an option. I don't think he's made a decision at this point, and I think they're kind of waiting to see where things lie with the movement here for Alabama players that are currently on the roster.
Yeah, man, that kid can flat out play football. I was surprised when he chose Tennessee over Alabama to begin with, but that kid can flat out play football, so that'd be a huge pickup for Alabama if we were able to land him. DC, one of the conversations we were having, actually, let's go ahead and get the break here. Come back on the other side, and two topics of conversation. We'll take the last two segments to talk about. We want to talk about basketball and Nate Oates, and whether or not this second season at 16-2 is on par with, better than, or less than what Nick Saban did in year two. And man, if we can extrapolate forward, it won't matter. Good things are ahead for Alabama basketball, no matter what the results are. If we can have similar success. And then also Nick Saban going what appears to be much older, more experienced in terms of coaches as well as his analysts in this year's staff. Should we read anything into that from a coaching standpoint or a philosophy standpoint? We'll have that conversation and more. We're speaking with DC Capstone Report. You can find DC Capstone Report at dccapstonereport.com.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, looks like a clear start to your Tuesday. Wrecks reported so far, however, seeing some slowdowns on University Boulevard downtown, and of course, still delays on Jack Warner Parkways. Crews continue that road work project. From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, I'm Meg Summers. Take advantage of big savings and huge rebates now at the stimulus sale at Townsend Nissan at Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa.
O'Reilly. Trust the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts to recommend the best products for your car, like 5 quarts of O'Reilly full synthetic motor oil and a MicroGuard filter, just $26.99. Extend the life of your vehicle and improve performance with a synthetic oil change. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Everybody loves Taco Casa. Everything we do in our store, we prepare in our store. We hand cut all of our tomatoes. We block and shred our own cheese here in the store. So we still hand cut our chips, our sopapillas, our taco shells, our chimalupa bowls. Our chili takes about 4 to 6 hours to make every single day. The goal in that is to provide the freshest, best quality to our customers. So we just look at it as, hey, basically, we're your kitchen. You're just coming to eat in your kitchen. Taco Casa, one of the biggest cactus in town.
What's he doing? Designing my new 2021 Nissan Kicks online in the Kicks Color Studio. I give each a special name. This one's electric blue, orange, red, white. I call it the gumball machine. You think it's me?
I feel like you're more of a red velvet guy.
Limitless possibilities with over 100 million available color combinations and Bose Personal Plus system in the boldly new 2021 Nissan Kicks. Bose is the registered trademark of the Bose Corporation. Color combinations include interior and exterior colors. Customization is an available feature subject to availability of participating Nissan dealers. See dealer for details.
So you think you have unlimited data?
Recalculating.
Think again. If you have unlimited data on a network you can't trust, your data is limited, and so are you. Set your smartphone free with the unlimited plans from Total Wireless. Get 4 lines with unlimited data on the nation's best network now with 5G, with 100 gigabytes at high speed, then 2G, for just $25 a month per line.
You have arrived at your destination.
Get unlimited and save. Total Wireless. Do amazing. Available at Total Wireless stores. See TotalWireless.com for terms and conditions.
Hey, Alabama, I'm attorney overpaid.
Do you want an attorney that you'll only see on TV or a billboard? I'm attorney Stephen Mizrano with the Mizrano, and you won't only see my face on TV, but you'll also see me in the courtroom, at the settlement table, and by your side. If you've been injured, call me, 205-206-6300. That's 205-206-6300. My number one priority is to take care of you and your family's needs.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services performed is greater than other lawyers.
Nick Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it. And Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our pep talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn, which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that.com as Pep Talks 35, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
Welcome back, Martin. The sound of 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Martin, you have Tom on hold because he has a basketball question. You are hot. 3, 2.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with DC Capstone Report, RollTideBama.com, and freelancepictures.com sponsoring. You can find more of what you want from DC at DCCapstoneReport.com. Let's go ahead and get to Tom. Tom, you're in with DC Capstone Report. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning, Mark. Morning, DC. Morning, Tom. I always enjoy you. Appreciate the fact that DC comes on. Thanks for taking my call, by the way. The basketball.
DC, I don't know. I told Martin yesterday, I'm not knowledgeable. I'm just armchair, but the Georgia game was interesting to me because they come out like Georgia came out like a buzzsaw, and I mean they were playing great in my opinion, and I know they had a bunch of turnovers, but good Lord, they were fierce, and I bring that up to say this: I was proud of the way that Alabama got a hold of that wildfire and extinguished it and won the game. To me, just a regular guy, fan, don't know anything, I thought they did something that was outstanding as a coaching staff and as a team. And and I know, I have sit there and watched in the NCAA tournament. You'll run into one of these teams, they are absolutely on fire, and they're just a couple of possessions away of putting you away early. And sometimes teams just cannot recover, but we recovered, and I thought that was interesting, the way that happened and the way the kids played to get control of that game. And it's really encouraging to me. I know there's callers out there that disagree with this, and I respect them. Don't get me wrong, because in the first place, I don't know that much. But I'd say that, when I saw that, I thought, we got a chance to go pretty good in the tournament because of the way able to handle that complete wildfire that came out in the form of Georgia Bulldogs.
Well, I think it showed a lot of fight in this team. A lot of times, Alabama teams that would happen to would give up and not come back. So I think it shows a lot of fight. Flip side of that is you really don't as a game as all Alabama did in that game, and that all that did was fuel that fire that you're talking about that Georgia had. But hey, look, this is something that's important. I think something else that you're saying, Tom, but you really hadn't said, but maybe I'll speak for you. Put a little words in your mouth here. Well, it is great to see an Alabama basketball team get the best game for everybody they play. That means you arrive when you get everybody's best game. Alabama's football team always gets everybody's best game because they want to knock you off the pedestal. Now as Alabama has played this year, I think it's impressive that we're getting everybody else's best game, even sometimes the referee's best game.
Exactly. That's my point. That I feel like we can do some damage in the SEC tournament. I think we can do some damage in the NCAA tournament because there's something about this team. They drive me crazy with turnovers, but they also lift me up, for lack of a better way to put it, the way they'll come back and play defense and somehow get control of the game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think what comes with the style of play that we have. The style of play that we have really gives you a lot of turnovers, and that's just something that we've got to help not shave 2 or 3 turnovers a game off to help us improve our chances to win these close games. But that's the style of play that we're in. It's just like in football. The lowest team that ever have no interceptions will be the team like Army that runs the ball all the time, because you're going to have some interceptions when you throw the ball. So the more risky you play on a style play, more chance for turnovers in basketball. But what we have to do is start shaving those down by 1 to 3 less turnovers a game, and that could be the difference in some of these close games in the tournament.
I agree. I just wanted to bring that up, but like I said, I know there are some that disagree with my way of looking at it, but I hope we do well. So thanks for taking my call.
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, I agree with that entire conversation, DC, for the most part, and totally on, if we go back and look, I think Jalen Hurts played the whole season with 1 interception, but it was also, the worst passing season we've had in a while too. And that was because he wouldn't take a lot of risk and a lot of throws. And you kind of take turn of it, but we do need to shave off, 1 to 2 a half, and that would get us in that 2 to 4 range per game. And now you're looking at, potentially a 4 to 8, 12 swing based on whether the threes are falling or not. in terms of what we would do from an offensive standpoint. Before we move into that basketball conversation, Curtis Lewis did comment on what we were talking about with Henry Toa. Kids, we need some Smiths and some Jones. Thank you, Devontae. But anyway, Henry is waiting. Curtis Lewis said Henry is waiting to see what the SEC ruling is in April about transfers being able to play right away. Still, Curtis Lewis says, still say we have better linebackers on the team than him now, just not as experienced. Curtis Moore came back and replied to Curtis Lewis, said, I see what you're saying, because on staff I already know the Pete Golding system as opposed to a newcomer like Henry. And then I'll ask you, DC, if you agree with this statement from Curtis Lewis. Yep, but also faster, just lack game experience like Kennedy, Bratton, and Moody. It wouldn't surprise me if Henry comes in and finds himself in a dogfight for the starting position. I totally would say that I don't think that Henry transferring in guarantees him a starting job. As I mentioned, I think the fact that you saw a couple of 4th, 5th year senior guys, older guys transferring out and not coming back, even when you look at, Dylan Moses not coming back after the season, to me, he didn't have a great season, but he didn't think about coming back either. That speaks to the experience we have at the linebacker position and what the coaches think we have.
I agree 100%. I think no way Henry Toto comes in and automatically handed the keys to the defense on this. I think he's going to have to win his spot, and it'll be difficult. We got some players that are really good that haven't had a chance to see the field yet. Yeah, we got some really talented young players, and Jackson Bratton is a kind of a personal project that I haven't spoken to him since he's been here, but his dad and I split Player of the Year awards in 4A. So his dad was a running back, I was a linebacker, and we were 4A co-players of the year way back in when the earth was cooling from the 87 season. So I've kind of watched him and seen him grow, and can't wait to see what he's able to do when he finally gets his opportunity. DC, before we get to break here, we'll start the conversation and we'll come back and give plenty of time on the other side. I want you to answer the question, and then we'll let you explain your answer on the other side. When you look at what this basketball team has done, 16-2 in the SEC for season title in 19 years in a COVID year, where do you rank this in comparison to Nick Saban's 12-0 football season, even with better than or less than comparison with Nick Saban? Well, I think in my mind it's better than the second year that Nick Saban had, most definitely. Okay, so hold that thought. We'll come back on the other side and give you plenty of time to explain why you feel that this season in basketball at 16-2 is better than the 12-0 season that Nick Saban had. That conversation and more coming up right here on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9 and the Martin Houston Show. More on the other side.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no wrecks to report so far on this Tuesday morning. However, do see a bit of a slowdown on University Boulevard downtown, and traffic starting to slow down over the Lurleen-Wallace Bridge. Make sure you take time as you head into work or class this morning. From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, on next summers, take advantage of huge savings and big rebates with the stimulus sale now at Townsend Nissan on Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread. Good morning. A week ago today, 7th District Tuscaloosa City Councilwoman Sonia McKinstry lost to challenger Cassius Lanier by 25 votes. Now she's taking that outcome to court, claiming that Lanier was not officially pardoned when he ran for office. Lanier has earned a college degree and become a businessman since exiting prison. 35-year-old Brian Jordan is charged with attempted murder for allegedly setting fire to his family home in the Pickens County community of Sap Sunday morning. His wife and 2 children were inside the home at the time. I'm Don Frick.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about Tuscaloosa Custom Carving. If you're looking for a way to add value to your home, make your flower beds pop, make your landscaping stand out from your neighbors, then Tuscaloosa Custom Curving can help you do just that. They have numerous styles, but they feature the Moroccan Stone Curve series, which includes 4 great styles and unlimited color choices. That's Tuscaloosa Custom Curving. They are the one that can help you stand out from your neighbors. Tuscaloosa Custom Curving, 205-331-6823. You may also find yourself with the need for a custom size stone or custom shaped stone. Then Tuscaloosa Custom Carving can help with that as well. Paul Fuller and his team are waiting on your call right now for that free quote. And if you tell them that Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show told you to stop by, you'll get a big discount. So call Tuscaloosa Custom Carving at 205-331-6823 or visit them online at Tuscaloosa Custom Carving LLC.
Good morning, Private. Good morning, Private. I mean, seriously, what a pleasant morning. The sun is shining and the birds are chirping. You seem to be in a good mood today. Astute observation.
He's probably happy because he found out Honey Nut Cheerios can help lower cholesterol as part of a heart-healthy diet.
They're even shaped like hearts. So, in lieu of the obstacle course today, I propose a nice meditative nature walk. Does that sound delightful to everyone? Yes, it
Happy Heart Shapes are back for a limited time. Learn more about Honey Nut Cheerios by picking up a box at your local store.
Ask big.
Have you seen our artisan created diamonds? If you've been in a room with one, you can't miss it.
Tom Osmond from Fincher and Osmond.
It's a diamond like I've never seen.
He's seen a lot of diamonds.
Ask big.
At Fincher and Osmond, you can put artisan created diamonds side by side with mined diamonds. When you see it,
more importantly, when she sees it.
FincherandOsmond.com.
McFarland Boulevard between Edgar's and local routes.
Making popcorn for movie night? Well, who are you? This is your wake-up call from TracFone Wireless. What if every time you tried a new streaming service, you had to buy a new TV?
That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, some wireless companies do that when you switch, make you buy a new phone.
Right.
But TracFone Wireless lets you keep your phone and your number and your network and gives you unlimited talk and text starting at $20 a month.
Seriously, who are you?
This is your wake-up call, people. TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control. Oh, you're burning it.
Oh, no.
See terms and conditions at TracFone.com.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
On your hot 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back into the fourth quarter, second half. When are men's basketball? When are they going to go to 4 periods versus 2 halves? They're like the only one that's holding on to that. But anyway, welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. It's the fourth quarter. We have DC Capstone Report. DC, tell them real quick where they can find you.
Well, you can find us at DCCapstoneReport.com and the DC Capstone Report Facebook page. You can follow me on Twitter at DavidCott50. We're in a couple of weeks, we'll be getting back into our weekly podcast as we preview the upcoming spring practices and hopefully the A-Day game. We'll also talk about some Alabama basketball.
All right. CJ Watson said, one thing I really like about this team is that they're doing the little things almost all the time, regardless of whether or not the 3 is falling. Sure, there are times they have to snap out of old habits, but that culture seems to have changed. And I think that keeps them in striking distance when shots aren't falling. And when they get that flow back, it's a game instead of fighting from 25 down every game. That's the difference between a 500 team and a 16-2 SEC champion. All right, DC, you said that you felt like this was better than Nick Saban's 12-0 undefeated SEC team. Tell me why.
Well, I believe you can't look at it just a one season. You have to look at a contextual thing. And I think Alabama football had some prior to Nick Saban getting there, it had some years where they won the SEC championship, and they had some good teams. Won the national championship in '92. And we had Coach Curry had an undefeated team that went all the way to a bowl game, to an Auburn game, and didn't pan out past that. We had Coach DuBose win the SEC championship. So when you look at that,
and Shula
was remarkable. What'd you say, Martin?
Wasn't Shula 10-0 at one point?
Shula was 10-0 at one point. So there's a lot of things that were going on good in Alabama football, and Alabama football has always been a national power ever since Coach Bryant, and even before him had taken over. And we can not to go into the history of all of that, but Coach Saban came in, did a great job. So I'm not saying he did a bad job; it was a fantastic job. His second season to go 12-0. But we're talking about an Alabama basketball team that has not been in the national conversation for some time, and it's difficult to win the SEC conference regular season title. I mean, I'm just telling you, it's difficult. If you don't believe me, look back at some of the history of it. 2002, I think, was the last one. That was a Mark Gottfried coach team. That's the only team that Mark Gottfried coached that won the conference title. And I don't believe, if you can check me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe he ever coached a team that won the tournament. Gottfried didn't. Even his team that went deep in the NCAA, and he had a great team that was ranked one briefly for a while, I think in 2003. And then went in and ultimately lost. He beat the number 1 seed in Stanford, but ultimately lost to Connecticut in the eventual national champion that year. So that's in recent days. That's the only time we've ever been close in the national conversation. Before that, my favorite coach of all time, I consider the best coach of all time, Wimp Sanderson. You can ask him. I believe he won regular season conference championship in 1987. I believe. He won a lot of tournament championships, 87, I think 82 through, 82, 87, maybe 89, 90, 91. I think he won the conference championships. But if you're looking at regular season, it's difficult to do that. And this team, Coach Nate Oates took a team that had, as many people will know, had history of tanking in the past, in the last couple of seasons, losing by 25 on sometimes, not buying into programs, not buying into strength conditioning, not buying into analytics. And in 2 years, he has taken a team with players he already had. He did a great job of recruiting great players to come here through transfers, through grad transfers, and through just some great freshman players. And I think he can do this for continue on the way he's doing. But we're looking at this, putting it in context, a 16-2 record. And when you say 16-2, you have to realize he was a bucket or two away from winning the Missouri game. And it's hard to beat anybody on the road when you only shoot 8 free throws and the opposing team shoots 48. So unbelievably, this is a great stretch for Alabama basketball. And I think it's a great stretch because you look at one point, I think we were close to being 4-4, right, when we started the season.
Yes.
And we come back from that.
Yeah.
And we have everybody talking about how bad it is in Alabama basketball, what a mess it is, what's going on. No, Coach Oates has done an amazing job, and I rank it just above what Coach Saban did in his second year. I'm saying he's a better coach. No, I'm saying this year, if you compare it to that isolated second year of Coach Saban, Nate Oates has had to do more in order to put this team where it has been. And it had to be buying not just Coach Oates, but the entire coaching staff, the entire basketball team, and just from top to bottom had to be a great coaching effort to put them where they are today.
Yeah, and the other part I would add to that, DC, is he had to bring in all these new players in a COVID year. Where this wasn't like a veteran team returning, with all of these guys that were already in their roles and stuff. And think about how long this team had to practice without knowing whether or not they were going to have John Petty. And how they move forward. And then when he did decide to come back, he worked right in with the flow, but they didn't have the typical off season where you get all of those extra practices and all that extra time of building team chemistry. So I think when you take all of that together, and some people may say, well, the league is down. Well, we'll see how much the league is down versus up. In terms of the Kentuckys of the world, we'll see once we get into the tournament whether the SEC has any success or not in that regards. But regardless, they were all playing in SEC on the same conditions and the same terms, and Nate Oates was able to put together a great season. And I agree with you on those points of how he took what a great season took what was not necessarily a great circumstance and made it into a great season. What do you see this Alabama team doing into the SEC tournament?
Well, I'll add one more thing to that, Martin. The thing I think you agree with me on this. Not only did he handle the situation with John Petty correctly, look what he's done with Javon Quinley, a guy that everybody thought was going to come in and start at the point and be all-world. He's a great player, but he's turned him into arguably the best sixth man in the league coming off the bench. So that's a feat for a coach. You realize to do that and to be able to manage all the egos on your team with only 5 can play, that's a really good feat. So that's another thing. I think Alabama is built to go deep into the tournament, SEC tournament. I think they're built to go deep into the NCAA tournament. Anything but a Sweet 16 would be a disappointment for me at this point. I think they're going to really go the way they play. And I think the one thing we missed, we hadn't talked about, is defense. This team plays defense better than most teams I've seen Alabama play.
I would agree with that. And the Alabama could draw Kentucky, which I think may be a good thing. A win over Kentucky to give us 3 this year, I think catapults them into the tournament and makes them play even better. Closing thoughts real quick, DC.
Well, I just think that this year is a year we've got to really be proud of our basketball team. We've been looking for a basketball, and what they've done, Martin, has been done in maybe like a season where fans could even come show up. So
right.
It's a great year for us to be out on basketball fans.
All right, that's DC Capstone Reports. You can find him at dccapstonereport.com. He joins us each and every Tuesday. He'll be back with us, and we'll be talking about what the Bama Crimson Tide was able to do in the SEC tournament and what expectations we have moving forward for March Madness. Thanks, DC. We'll catch up with you on the flip side.
Thanks, Martin. Have a great day, and roll tide.
Roll Tide. I'm Martin Houston. Remember, trust in the Lord always. Lean not in your own understanding. All your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path. Roll Tide. And we will see you on tomorrow for a Hump Day edition of the Martin Houston Show. Have a blessed day, and roll tide.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide.
Lauren, hope you have a good day.
You too. Roll Tide.
Tide 100.9.